Hi, welcome to the Vaguely Anime Podcast. I am one of the hosts this evening, Michael, followed by other host, Sage. I was seeing how long you would wait. I was giving a dramatic pause, and then I was seeing if you were going to cut me off.
This is a long pause.
Yeah. Hi. This bitch thought I was going to read a book.
We already did this bit.
Yeah, I know. So instead, we're going to talk about the greatest English dub of all time, Ghost Stories. Which Sage apparently has not watched, but you have seen like best.
I haven't sat down and watched it
because I
to understand what's going on.
Yeah,
but I have seen a lot of clips.
Because I watched it. I finally sat down. So I have a backlog, obviously, but so that's kind of what I've been going through.
Right.
But I caught up on like new shows that are coming out or that were coming out because I usually just wait for the English dubs to be done and then I just binge them. So I caught up. I finished the last season before stuff was done. I was like, oh, fuck, what the hell do I do with my time? So I watched our anime club in the first week.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, well, now what do I watch? And I was like, I could watch Ghost Stories. So I did. And I'm also watching Reincarnated as a Slime, finally. There are probably more important shows I could finally get around to watching, but this is what's happening right now.
Go watch Monster.
Sure could, but the English dub's apparently horrible.
I think on Netflix they only have the Japanese.
I think they have the English, but it's not. Well, I don't know. It's the English dub's not good though.
On Netflix, at least when they first put it on, they didn't have the dub as an available. Only sub.
Anyway, like I said, there could probably be better things I should be watching, but this is what's happening.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was like, finally, like, I'm gonna watch Ghost Stories. So, for like I think it took me like 3 days to watch it, and it was.
An experience?
Definitely probably something that in today's culture would not be great, but it's really fucking funny because they know that
it's a product of its time.
Yeah, it's absolutely a product of its time, and it's hilarious.
You know what? The way you describe it, it's like the first scary movie where like if that came out today.
Right.
People would be like upset about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just.
But it is undeniably very funny.
Yeah, it's so funny. There's so many like little gags and jokes in the background that are also just hilarious. Like there's a running gag with two construction workers, like the boss and the underling.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, should we really tear down this well? You're not paid to ask questions. Just fill the hole filler, and it's like, and that comes up like 4 more times, but with like a different, blank.
Right. A different guy like doing a different job.
And it's just like, it's the little things, and it's like, the brother is just like. They joke that the brother's like meant, on the spectrum or whatever, And so they just like make these random fucking offhanded jokes that are like so bad, but they're hilarious. Or it's like, hey, did you do your homework? Oh, right, you're dyslexic. And then they just say the sentence in jumbled words in the same way, just so that like it would be put together right in their brain, which is obviously not how that works, but that's the fucking joke. And it's just, there's so many great lines. And then it's like, at one point, the cat is like fighting a ghost, and it's like, oh no, like what's wrong with this ghost? And it's like, oh no, it's just a ghost, but she's also a bitch.
But she's also a bitch.
Like, it's so funny and like, and unhinged as hell because like, the main girl. Her whole thing is that like they're all in elementary school and they refer to themselves as being in elementary school.
Right.
Like they don't try to lie that they're not.
Right.
And like she'll be like, God, I wish I had tits and an ass that doesn't quit. And it's like,
oh my God.
Or like, the teachers will just be talking about how they're just trying to fucking bang. And like,
I can't.
There's this one female teacher that like the main girl's trying to fill in for like this radio show, and she's like, I'm trying to get and the teacher is like, I'm trying to get my world rocked, so I need you to fucking I need you to figure out what you're doing so I can go get banged by this other teacher. And she's like, please stop talking to me.
Oh,
and it's like,
my God.
I just need something big and curved. And then she looks at like the microphone in the background art, and she's like, that microphone could do it. If I don't leave right now, I could just be working on that microphone.
I need to go.
It's
Oh my
like-
God.
It's so unhinged, and it's hilarious. And like, there's random jokes where it's just like, fine, I'll do. I don't need a wish or magic wish to get tits in an ass. I'll do it the old-fashioned way with plastic surgery. And again, they acknowledge that they are like 8 years old,
Right.
and it's just. It's so funny. One of the characters is like a born again Christian. The other's like a stereotypical like Jewish character.
Oh my God.
And the jokes that they have together and stuff like that. It's I don't know. They make fun of the animation, like in character. Like they break the fourth wall a couple times. Like they'll be running and they don't really look like they're moving.
Right.
And in the dub they'll be like, I feel like we're running, but we're not getting anywhere. What's going on? And then it'll be a next cut, and then you'll see the background moving. They're like, oh, there we go. All right, now we're getting somewhere. It's so funny. They act like the show takes place in like America, like they are English.
Right, like in the
people,
United
yeah.
States.
And so then when there are signs that aren't translated, they're like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Why are we putting up Japanese signs? They're like, oh, is this Chinese? And then they'll say like a sentence in a random language like Chinese like perfectly, and you're like, what is this? Why is this happening? Like, why do these people know 30 different languages fluently just for a bit?
I love it.
It's it's
Why?
one of,
I think if you have any like skill sets, right, that are like not exactly necessary for your job or lifestyle, and you just have like a bunch of random things you know how to do, you better be like excellent solely for the bit.
yeah, like I don't know, the English dub is so unhinged, and if anybody doesn't know, I think everybody probably at this point knows what Ghost Stories is about, or not about, but like its deal. But if you don't, as just a quick little thing, it was a animated show back in 2000 that was so poorly received in Japan that when they were sending it to America to get dubbed, the company that made it went, we literally don't care what you do with this. You can do whatever you want, which like never happens. It is
So
usually very strict.
Are there? I assume the original, with the subs exists somewhere.
Oh yeah, it's on Crunchyroll. You can
Because
just watch
I'm
the
very
sub.
curious as to like what the original is supposed to be, like what kind of story they're trying to tell.
Serious.
Or is it supposed to be like in the dub? Do they at least have like same plot beats happening, or it's not even?
Yeah, I mean, it's all the same thing. Like,
because obviously they're not going to change the animation, but you know what I mean.
Like in the dub, they change context for it sometimes, and then other times like they'll reference that like that the show is referencing the Ring like 8 times. Like 8 different ghosts are basically based off the Ring,
Right.
And they constantly are like, God, what number of Ring people are we up to now? This is like our 7th one that works the same way.
That's really funny.
But like, it's probably just really boring if you watch the sub.
Probably.
It's probably just a really, really bad and generic kids dealing with ghosts.
The Ring had me in a chokehold when I was a kid.
Yeah, but like, it's just
It was,
it's so good. And like, again, so they were basically given carte blanche to do whatever the fuck they wanted, and they were like, all right, cool, we're gonna make this the most unhinged comedy ever. And they commit to the fucking bit.
love it.
And it's incredible. And it like in the last episode, they know that like it's just being wrapped up because it didn't get anything more, and so they're just like, well, it's the fucking last episode. I guess this is where I'm supposed to gain a conscience and like you. So I guess I'm gonna do that now. Bye. And then like goes and protects them. You know, it's like I don't know. It's something that I think if you're not gonna watch entirely, you at least need to watch a best of compilation.
Yeah.
Because I mean, realistically, that is the best part. It's just the bits that everybody clips. But I think overall, it's still pretty funny in general. I think the in between the moments are still kind of funny.
Right.
I mean, I was watching it as like a side thing, so maybe that helped if it isn't totally the
Ooh,
best
maybe when
thing
I
in
start
life,
my
but
next puzzle, I'll have it as my background.
background noise. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's I recommend watching it. Just know that you have to be okay with some questionable comedy by today's standards.
Right.
But it's fucking funny. Like, I think I gave it like an 8 out of 10 on Mal before the dub.
So funny.
Because I was genuinely laughing out loud for so much of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, it's a whole thing, and it's so good.
Because it's not that kind of thing. Because you know how like some earlier late 90s, kind of early 2000s dubs are really painful to listen to, but they're trying really hard, and you're like, I feel bad, but this is really awful.
Yeah.
But it's not that where the people are like clearly fucking around.
Oh, absolutely. Some of them are definitely like booth outtakes because you could hear them talking, and it's just because it worked.
That's really funny.
Like, because it was funny for the bit, and they're like,
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
Just
we're
put it in.
Yeah,
Just put it in.
Yeah. Like, so it I don't know. It's really fucking funny. Like, at one point, they're like, like multiple times in episodes, they'll be like near the middle or end of the thing, and they'll be saying something, and they'll be like in character or whatever. They'll be like, why are we even pretending? We both know that none of us reading this script thinks it makes any sense, so why do we care? Nothing about this episode made any sense, so who cares? The ghost loses now.
No explanation. It's just over, all right?
I don't know. I keep just saying it's so good, but like, it's so hard to explain without like just giving away all the jokes, and I'm never going to deliver them as funny.
Right.
And plus, some of them I probably shouldn't say anyway.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
But
So would you recommend that people watch it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Love it.
I thought about giving it a 9. I was like, I can't do that. But no, it was so fucking funny. It's just listening to these people going on the most unhinged humor because they just were given fucking carte blanche to do whatever they wanted, and they were like, we are gonna go off on this show.
Yeah. Do you think the people doing the voices like watched it before they voiced it, or they just got like a script and they were like, here's the general plot beats, go?
I don't know.
I'm very curious on like
I
how
wonder if there's a thing about
how
they
that
made
came
it.
about, because once it's coming to the United States to be localized, the animation already exists, a script already exists, you know what I mean? So I'm wondering if they had any kind of like, okay, we're getting this show, here's the script, and here's like the characters, blah blah blah, plot points, blah blah blah, and this is what we're gonna do when we get in the booth, right? Or if they were just like, hey, we're getting this show, these are your characters' names, fuck around.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm very curious on like what that, it'd be so great. You know how sometimes you can find those like compilation videos of like behind the scenes for like voice actors, and they're in the booth, right? And they're either like messing up their lines or something, right? And it's all good and fun. I wonder if they have something like that of like the voice actors in the booth.
So basically, it just says that the company told the ADV, who basically is the person that they go between companies and helps localize things, that they weren't happy with Ghost Stories, and that they were allowed to do anything the person was a he could do to make money.
I see.
So they went, we're just going to make this an unhinged comedy and people will love it.
Right.
So
I wonder, is there like DVD?
They were given only a few vague stipulations. They couldn't change the characters' names.
Right, that makes sense.
They couldn't change the way the ghosts were defeated, and not to change the basic plot of each episode.
Okay, that makes sense. You have to have like a certain, I think, ground rule to make the show at least coherent.
Yeah.
Or consistent with what the original is.
Yeah. And so they just...
Would this be... This was in
They were literally just told, have fun with it.
This was in 2000, so is that too early for DVDs, or were DVDs already a thing in 2000?
I don't know.
I feel like they weren't. I feel like that was still like VHS time. What?
I forgot Vic Mignogna's in the show. He's one of the characters. And he insisted on being credited as Obi Frost Tips.
Obi Frost Tips. Why?
We tried to have a joke for everybody. Like, they were never concerned about crossing the line either. They just wanted a joke for anything.
That was funny.
Yeah, like, it's just... Oh, right. Because he's only in one episode, and they just call him Vic.
That's really
they just
funny.
Absolutely
so
keep
he's only
referencing
in one
him as
episode
Vic.
as like a cameo kind of a thing.
Yeah, right, because like a random character, and they just
Right.
keep calling like a character Vic, and then making jokes about Vic Mignogna about that character.
That's so funny.
It's again, it's just they literally in this thing they were like, we just said there was no line, we went for it,
Yeah, you just do what you got to do.
and it works.
Yeah, love it.
Unless you're really sensitive to things, in which case you
Right.
probably will not like it
Right.
at all.
But I think for stuff like that, like you have to put yourself like be like, okay, this didn't come out in 2023.
Right.
Like the sensibilities was not there
Yeah.
at the time.
They definitely drop words that are not cool by today's standards.
Right.
But again,
But yeah, I feel
it's
like you can
funny,
say that
so-
about so much media in general.
Yeah.
And especially I feel like in the like late 90s, early 2000s, like I feel like with like the rise of parody movies, they were like trying to push the envelope like
Yeah.
even more kind of a thing.
If you watch it, we can come back and talk about it like
More in depth, yeah. So next I'll make it my homework to watch it.
Yeah, you say that, and you never do it.
I know. I've done some of my homework.
Yeah.
I watched Midori and
you
the
never
menu.
you never did most of the cultured homework.
I know because I wasn't into them. I like started them and I was like, I don't
It wasn't to
like
be
this.
into them. It was just for you to look through them and we talk
Yeah.
about it.
True, but I was like, eh.
Because none of them were genuinely like, well, not two of them I think were genuinely like, hey, I think these are good.
Right. And then the other ones were just like,
You know, did you ever get around to the one that was like where I was like, this one's just pretty fucked up, but like the art's good?
I don't know. This was so long ago.
Yeah.
I have like no memory.
Anyway, so I guess to move on from ghost stories,
Yeah.
have you ever watched anything to do with that reincarnated as a slime?
I think I might have watched like the first episode or two when it first started airing, or maybe like a year after that.
Right.
But I didn't watch it all the way through. It seemed like cute enough.
Yeah, I'm only on like episode like 6,
Okay.
something like that. Like I'm not far.
Like it sounds like a stupid enough idea that like I could get behind it, if that makes sense.
It's exactly that. Like it literally I will say so far there was like one genuinely great bit.
right.
And it's not new, but it was just great.
Like
And
the
it-
execution.
Yeah.
Of the
So like
bit.
in the first episode, right?
Yeah.
Obviously the person needs to be reincarnated, so
Exactly.
something has to happen to them. Spoilers for the first episode of Reincarnated as Slime. The guy is a regular like
Does it
30
count as
something.
spoilers if it's the first episode?
He's like a 30-something-year-old dude, and he's meeting his coworker for like food or something.
Right.
And the coworker shows up with a girlfriend. And the dude in like his internal monologue was like, I've never even had a girlfriend, whatever. And he shows up with the girl and he's like, he's just here to show this girl off, isn't he? Fuck that guy. But I respect it. And like he's like a good dude.
Right.
And all of a sudden, like some dude is just running down the fucking sidewalk with a knife out.
Okay.
And he's about to stab the dude. And so he turns and like the main character, he turns and like shoves him out of the way and gets stabbed instead. And so he's like dying.
Yeah.
And as he's dying, the friend runs over. He's like, I'm sorry. I was a prick. I just wanted to show off my girlfriend. And he's like, I know. Need you to do something for me, though. Before I die, I need you to know you have to go to my house and destroy my hard drive.
Oh my god.
Throw it into the tub. He's like, okay. And he's like, and then they start talking a little bit, and he's having an internal monologue. And what's happening internally is what's leading to his reincarnation. He's like, oh, like it's so hot, now it's cold. And then like there's a disembodied voice that's like, temperature, like, like temperature regulation
Right.
skill acquired, and so it leads to why he ends up being a slime. It's the
Okay.
things he is saying in his last moments of feeling pain and stuff. It then creates a body that then will not be able to feel that same pain
Right.
based on what he's saying. And so like they're having these like little back and forths, and like 4 times he's like, I need you to say you will go to my house and destroy my computer. And so finally, right before he passes, he's like, I will do it. And he's like, good, be good to your girlfriend, don't fuck it up because I was alone. And he's like, I will, thank you. And so he fucking dies. And at the end of the episode, he's, slime, he's like, I wonder if he ever did destroy my computer. He better have. And then it just cuts to like him walking up with the desktop, like the computer monitor, everything, walking over to a filled tub and just tossing it in and watching it fizz and break up. And he goes, you're at rest now. Thank you. And I'm like, this isn't a new bit, but it's funny anyway.
Yeah. I like the idea of this guy. He doesn't even need to like destroy the monitor, but he's like, no, it's all gotta go.
He's like,
just in case.
He told me to destroy it, and I'm gonna destroy it all.
Because you never know.
Yeah. And so, but like, it's just so far, it's just been pretty fun. Like, it's an isekai. It's not all that new, but or different.
Right.
But it's fun.
Do you feel like the slime angle makes it at least like a little more interesting than like your standard isekai? Because I feel like
It's definitely the overpowered character, because like being a slime basically means that they can't be hurt.
But I also feel like if he's slime, I feel like you open doors to like more creative solutions.
Yeah, so he does get like a human form.
Oh, so he's not a slime the whole time.
But I think it's constantly going back and forth
Okay.
because the slime has more
Powers?
well, not I think you get the same powers, but I think it's just that like versatility
Oh, okay.
because morphing around and stuff.
Right.
I don't know for certain because I literally only just ended the episode that he gets the human form in.
Gotcha.
So, but the subsequent the OP and the subsequent seasons all still show the slime body, so I assume it at least shows up often enough.
I was gonna say, like, do you think like it's gonna be a thing where like the slime is the primary, and then he can like turn into a human when he needs it?
Yeah, like just to be like blend in with people probably.
Right.
Because
when he's a slime, he's not like particularly large, right?
Nope.
He's like
Very small.
He's like a small slime.
Very small.
Yeah.
And the slime is voiced by the person that voices Misaka. So it's a female voice. And gets a female body.
Okay.
But it's really funny hearing the voice actress for Misaka doing like being a guy basically. And so like, the slime gets picked up and like hugged into people's boobs. And he's like, and you just hear like the little adorable Misaka voice just being like, this is the greatest day of my life. I've never seen so many boobs in my face in my entire lifetime.
That's so good though. I love that.
And so like it's and it's pretty funny, like, cause it's so also clearly like a dude that would not really know what to do in a lot of situations.
Right.
And so just kind of shirks responsibilities off to other people.
Right.
Like he basically befriends a goblin group and he's like, I don't want to lead these fucking people. Hey, village elder, you're just going to rule these people, but you can just work under me. And he has to like name people because names are significant in the world.
Okay.
And so he's like, there's the village elder and his son, and then they had another son that died.
Okay.
And the son that's died, I think his name was like Rieger.
Okay.
And so he's like, and they're like, all right, well, you're going to give us all names? And he's like, yeah, sure. And so he looks at the old man. He's like, In his head, he's like, well, their son was Rieger. You're going to be Riegert. And then the kid is going to be Rieger. And they're like just the same as the brother. And it's just all the names are kind of off that same mentality of being like.
No.
And so they're all just like shitty names, but they all love it because they're like, we're getting a name.
What if it was like, you're all Jeff now?
Yeah. And it's just like, again, it's just, at least for the first half that I've been watching it, it's just been fun. It's a cute show. It's good background noise, and it's been fun to watch. And it's pretty. And there are other characters apparently that are like from Japan also.
Oh, okay.
So in the first episode, he meets like a dragon. And the dragon's like been around for a really long time, so it's just kind of explaining some stuff because it's trapped in this cave, and so
Right.
like, it's like I have no one else to talk to, so I haven't talked to anybody in 300 years. I'll talk to you.
Right.
So, and he's like, reincarnation. That's not a way a lot of people get into this world. And he's like, oh, so there are other ways for people to get here, like there are other people, and he's like, oh yeah, like you can be summoned. And so there are like at least 2 other people from Japan that he thinks that have been summoned. In like the 6th episode, he meets one, and apparently she's from the era where Tokyo was being fucking nuked.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
All right.
And she gets pulled out right before she like dies
Right.
in the explosion.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah. Something like that, and it's just like, all right, fuck.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. It's been fun so far. It's not anything like world breaking. It's not doing
Right.
anything really all that different, but it is at least fun, which is saying something for most isekais because usually they're not.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I almost never watch isekais because I just think they're kind of tedious. I find them to be fairly one note.
Yeah.
But I think when something does creative, like your main character is primarily a slime, like you don't have the excuse to not do like at least something creative with it.
Yeah, instead of like I got reincarnated with my smartphone.
Oh my god, I can't handle
Or
it.
I got reincarnated
Isn't
into a vending machine.
Isn't the smartphone one? He's in like feudal Japan though with the smartphone.
I don't know. I think it's like a second season because I keep seeing it on Crunchyroll's front
There's a
page.
second
So
season?
I think it got a second season.
And he just leaves his childhood best friend for dead.
Does he?
I think so.
Oh.
He can talk to her through like a mirror or something. It's weird. I didn't watch it obviously, but I heard about it, and like these are the tidbits I caught like latched onto.
Right.
But yeah, most isekai it's really not for me. I think they get pretty stale pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I also can see the appeal if you watch like one in your lifetime. You know what I mean?
I've watched a few.
Right.
So like I've seen really, really good and really bad. ReZero I would say is really good. Sword Art I would say is really bad, and I've watched all of Sword Art
That's a lot of Sword Art.
except
to
for the
get through.
movies, but I've watched every serialized TV show version of Sword Art.
That is a lot to get through, my guy.
Sure is. If you have somehow never watched Sword Art at this point, just watch till they get out of SAO. Don't watch Alfheim. When it gets to fairies, just leave. And never look back.
I think I only watched the first 8 episodes of the first season.
Is that the end of the...
I don't even think it's the end.
Oh.
Oh, it's when he's like, I watched this literally years ago, but I think I stopped after like some girl with blue hair was sad and crying, and he was like, "All right,
The third episode.
bye."
I think that's like the third episode.
Okay, maybe it was further in. I don't remember what happened. I just remember.
Sachi.
I think I only watched the first 8 episodes.
You know what you should do?
What?
Watch the abridged.
Yeah.
Because it makes the show good.
Really?
You know, like some people say that for Dragon Ball abridged, and like the writers are always like, we're not better than the show. Like
Right.
don't do that. Like don't watch us instead of the show. Watch the show.
Right.
People should just watch the abridged of Sword Art instead of the show.
I see.
Because it literally makes it a better show. And it's also hilarious. But like obviously there's hindsight,
Right.
but like they make it all make sense.
Is it also though because you have
They take
the
like a year to write
contextual
it.
knowledge that this abridged version is.
No, I think you could just go into it.
Oh,
and
you
watch
you
it.
can pick
I
up on
think you
things
could,
just
yeah.
with the abridged.
I mean, like, I think you could get away with it.
Mm.
I legitimately think you should watch it. Right now they're in Alfheim, because like I said, they take like a year to make each episode. Like they like rework the scripts because they are like forward planning. Like so they're like, all right, we know where this goes. We need to rewrite the scripts to make sure that like we don't do the same kind of thing because in the regular during Alfheim. Spoilers.
They're like fairies, right?
Yeah, but Sugawa is Kirito's sister.
Okay.
She shows up in the Alfheim arc.
She does like taekwondo or something.
Kendo.
Kendo.
She shows up in that arc. They're not actually related. They're like step siblings or whatever the fuck.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. She wants to bang him.
Of course. If you're not blood related, that's mandatory.
Yeah. And so the abridged goes, fuck that shit. No. And it's like, we're going to have a complex, actually deep character rich thing here. And so they make it about the fact that, because in the show, there's like an underlying thing where like Kirito used to do kendo and was really good at it, but then just stopped and got into video games and became kind of like lazy, and she had to keep doing it.
Okay.
To like be worth something to the family kind of thing. But like, that is very, very, very subtext.
Okay.
Like it's never actually touched on. Really.
Okay. Not explicitly stated.
So in the show, they're like, no, we're gonna make this the main fucking thing.
Okay.
Like, and so when they have like a moment
she
where
just
like
pops off on him like, you quit.
yeah, where she's like, no, like, do you have any idea like what that did to me? I was trying to always be like you. I wanted to be worth something to our family. Like I wanted to be something to our grandfather, and you left, and they made me, and they continuously made me do this while not respecting me.
Right.
And like whatever, and like it's like you're watching this and you're like, holy fuck, like I didn't think that this was gonna make me fucking feel feelings. Like they literally make the show better. They make the entire reason Sword Art exists better.
Right.
Because at the end of the first arc of the first season for Sword Art,
just
when
like
it ends,
some guy?
well, the creator,
Right.
he doesn't have a reason for why he did it.
Right. He's just like, oh, sorry.
Never gives a reason. He's just like, yeah, bye. In the abridged, they give him a reason,
Okay.
and it's hilarious. Do you want to know?
No, because I want to watch
Okay,
this abridged.
okay.
It sounds interesting.
Yeah, like it's hilarious, and just be like it genuinely makes the show good, and gives a reason for why it
Wow,
fucking exists.
So since you've watched actual Sword Art,
Every season of it.
Yeah, what makes people one makes Sword Art so popular, and two, why do people even like Kirito? Like
It was the first mainstream isekai,
right,
so that's why it was popular.
Okay.
It was the first to do it.
but then it keeps being like staying popular, if that makes sense.
A lot of people have bad taste.
Yeah, that's fair.
And people like Kirito because he's generic pro tag you can pretend to be.
That's also super fair.
That's all.
Because
It
like
is.
sometimes I think about it, I'm like, there just doesn't seem to be anything that's like particularly interesting about him.
Nope, not really. They've used Kirito well twice.
Out of like what 8 series?
Yeah, so one of the times is because he's not even a main factor of the season.
Love it.
So there's a season that or an arc of a season that that basically only pertains to Asuna.
Okay.
And she is following. Basically, it turns out there are like 4 kids that are playing the game, like the Alfheim game, and are like really good. And this one girl in particular is challenging people, and if they can beat her, she'll give them her special skill, which is like being able to hit somebody like 20 times in a round or some shit.
Okay.
Whatever. It's not really that important. But the point is that she is undefeated. She's been at this tree and nobody can beat her.
The girl.
Yeah. And everyone's talking about it, and at some point Asuna's like, well, Kirito, you could beat her, and he's like, I can't, I already tried. Like it doesn't even show it. He just goes, I already tried, I lost.
Right.
And you're like, okay, cool. Like we didn't even see it. That's great. So it's all about Asuna being like, all right, well, I'll try, because she's a rapier user, and so is Asuna.
Right.
So she's like, maybe I can do it. She gets close but loses.
Okay.
And so they decide to like go on this quest together to go get this item.
Oh, that sounds so fun.
Yeah.
Quest together.
Oh,
Fun.
Yeah. Okay, I couldn't tell if you were being sarcastic or not.
No. Like
Yeah.
they have a little duel, and she doesn't win, but then they're like, "Ooh, let's."
So it turns out that these like 4 people are playing the game in a hospital
Okay.
because they are terminally ill.
Okay.
And so they like their bodies don't work, but they use the game as an escape during their treatments and stuff to like get away from it.
Right.
And so the girl that's like has this skill is going to die. Like
Right.
she is soon to be dead. And so they're just going on this last quest just to have fun, basically. Like
That's so
they want to go on this
cute.
quest that nobody in the game has been able to achieve, and they want to be able to say they did it and they were the first ones, because then like they get a picture or something and it's immortalized in the game forever. So then they're like, we're gonna be. Yeah. So at one point during this whole little arc, the players of the game are like trying to stop them because they want to be the first ones to do it. And so there's like a
Those
rush. Yeah,
bastards.
so there's like a rush of people trying to stop them. And they're like in a cave or whatever, and they're all like, all right, we're going to like fight all of like, 100 fucking player characters. We're going to do this. Like, we got this. But they really don't. Like, they know they're going to lose. And they're accepting that. And all of a sudden it just cuts to footsteps like running around the cave ceiling, and it then drops down in front of them, and it's Kirito. And he takes out his 2 swords, and he has Excalibur at this time, which is an in-game item that's like a fucking broken-ass sword. And he takes out his 2 swords, and he goes, don't worry, I got this, just go. And then they leave, and you don't see the fight.
Okay.
So I'm like, that's one example of them using Kirito well, just because he is a god tier character, and you've made him
He's
have
like
0 flaws.
Super OP.
Yeah, he has 0 flaws. A good way to use that person is to have them just be in the background and help you at one point.
Right.
Which is just, he jumps in front of a horde of people and goes, I'll hold them off, go. And then you never see him fight them. You keep with the Asuna story.
Gotcha.
Like, that's a good use of it.
Yeah, that's a good way to like have him there, but he's not, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Because it's not about him.
Right.
So that's one good use.
Okay.
The other good use is when they completely depowered him and made him a regular person.
Okay.
Which was in the Alicization, the more recent season.
Is that the one where they're like robots or something?
Yeah, so we had talked about this before. They're AIs.
Right.
Alice becomes real in a robot body and wants to bang Kirito, but because she's an AI, so she gets real sentience. But like, it's a whole thing.
I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, it's really convoluted.
It sounds like it is. I just remember there was robots in that
In
one.
like the first like 2 episodes, they exposition dump, and you're like, what does any of this mean?
But isn't each one like a different setting?
Not each one, not each season, but like,
Oh, okay.
but they're like, because there's the Gun Gale arc, but then they go back to Alfheim. Like, Alfheim becomes the default game that they spend time in.
Okay, because I thought like each season was a different.
So like, yeah, so season
Like-
1 is SAO and Alfheim, ALO.
Okay.
And then season 3 is Gun Gale.
That's like the shooter one.
Yeah, it's so then they go to GGO, but then they spend time in Alfheim.
Okay.
And then the next season, or the next arc, is, I believe, that Asuna one.
Okay.
And then after that is Alicization,
Gotcha.
I think. Gun
Are
Gale's where
still
they get Sino
making
and the blue
SAO
hair.
shows?
I think so.
Or like they're finally
I
buried?
think they're probably still making
Why
it
are they beating a dead horse? Just let it go.
because it makes money. And so Alicization is about Kirito just being a regular dude.
Gotcha.
Because he's like in a regular world, basically. Like, it has game mechanics, but he's a regular person.
Right. And he only has regular people skills.
Yeah, like, he eventually gets stronger,
Right.
but he starts out being a regular person and gets his ass kicked a lot.
Does he? So I'm curious though. So if he starts off as a regular person, like, is he confused that he's a regular person?
No, I think he knows. I don't remember exactly.
Oh,
I think
okay.
he either does know or he doesn't, but then he just thinks that he's a regular person, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, because I was gonna say,
Until
I
he
feel
gets
like that would
taken
be
out.
so interesting if like he's been like God mode this whole time, and then he gets plopped into like a new area where he has to go back to being like square one.
I mean, technically, that's what Alfheim Online is, and Gun Gale. Both of those are about him technically being in a new game he's never played.
But he's God mode in those games.
Yeah, but not immediately. He then learns that he is
I see.
because his reaction time is so good. But so yeah, like, and then in Alicization, the best part. Spoilers for this one. It's more recent. Spoilers for Alicization. He gets both his arms cut off
Oh, why?
and just loses the will to live.
Okay.
And becomes like basically comatose for like years in the world.
Okay.
And Alice is taking care of him the whole time. And for the entire second half of the season, he doesn't do anything. It's about Alice doing all of it. And he doesn't do anything, I think, till like the last 2 episodes where like he finally comes back to like consciousness. And because he's in a game, like the arms grow back or whatever the fuck. And he is able to like fight the main bad guy and like stop them. But he doesn't do anything for an entire
What
season. He's
the-
just in a fucking vegetable state.
That's so weird.
And you're like, all right, this is one way to get rid of God tier Kirito.
You're like, this is one way to make things not extremely interesting.
Well, no, I was going to say it is a way to make it interesting because he's not involved.
I was gonna say, not to make the show not interesting. I mean, like his character not interesting.
Yeah, but
Because if you just have him in a fucking coma, what's
he's never
the
going to be
point?
interesting. He's the same thing.
Right.
He's perfect boy. Perfect generic boy. He works for the fucking government as like a spy or coder, whatever.
What? I thought he was like 16.
He is. He has there's like a branch of the government that uses him. He's the reason that they're the reason he goes into Gun Gale. Because someone's killing people in the game again. And so they're like, we need you to go in and figure out what the fuck's going on.
So in the real world, is there like a passage of time between the games?
It's different time. It's different. It is, time does pass, but it's different.
I know it's different than like
if you
the
spend
in-game time.
Yeah, like if you spend I think they actually say it, but like
There's
if you
like a
spend
ratio?
5 hours in the game, it's like 5 minutes in real life or something like that. Like it's not something like that. It's probably different time dilation, but it's around there. But yeah, so there is passage of time. Like in Alicization, the passage of time is like 1,000 years for like an hour in real life.
Oh, okay.
That's partially why they're worrying about getting him out. So he gets in the very beginning of like the second episode or the end of the first episode of Alicization, he gets injected with a poison that's gonna kill him. So they put him into it to basically put him into like a stasis mode.
Like a medically induced coma.
Yeah, but in the game because it was the only way they had access to it.
Okay.
Because they knew the guy he was working with, and that was the only way that they could save him.
Okay.
Doesn't really make sense, but it's whatever.
Sure.
So they have like 3 hours to like save him before he dies from this fucking poison. But he can live out the time in the game, and that's like, and the time dilation is like 1,000 years or whatever, and they're like, it's gonna fucking rot his brain if he's in there for too long, because he's gonna live too many lifetimes and not be able to
like function.
Yeah, not gonna be able to process that information.
Right.
Basically. And so like that's the kind of, we need to save him, and he's gonna, but also the thing that's keeping him alive currently is also gonna kill him. So it's like,
interesting.
yeah, it's not bad. I actually did kind of like it. But again, because it was about Kirito not being a god.
Right.
He's a regular person, and then not even a factor.
Not even like present for the show.
Yeah, he's present for the first half.
Right.
And then the second half he isn't, which like it works out.
Yeah.
It kind of works. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I can't, especially with SAO. I really can't. I can't handle it.
just is Something Witty Entertainment is the channel
Oh, that's
name.
the abridged one?
Yeah, that's the channel name.
Something Woody Entertainment?
Witty.
Witty, okay.
But if you just look up SAO abridged,
It will come up.
it'll just be the first one, because I think there's 17 episodes. The 17th literally just came out like 3 days ago.
Oh, okay.
So
When did SAO first start airing? 2012?
yeah, around there.
I feel like, I don't know if that's too late or too soon. But I feel like it's...
I mean, it's like the first major.
Yeah, but I feel like the franchise has
Okay.
been around for like a long time now. Which, I mean, I guess good for the franchise.
2012.
2012. Wow, I was right on the money. But I just... Even like to this day, I will see SAO stuff at like conventions. Because, you know, like shows that were popular, like let's say 10 years ago, and they were really, really popular, but you don't see them anywhere these days. Right?
Right.
I feel like with SAO, I still see like figurines and posters and stuff like that at anime conventions,
Mm-hmm.
which is surprising because I feel like most people don't like SAO, or at least most people I know do not like SAO.
Yeah, I don't watch SAO because I like it.
Wait, you do it to torture yourself?
I've committed at this point. I in the same way that you're like, I'm gonna watch Velma to be an educated hater.
Okay, I understand that.
I've just committed to being the person that watches SAO so others don't have to.
I still haven't finished watching Velma.
I thought you did.
No, I tried to watch the rest of it. I got through, I watched 6, 7, and 8. And then I was like, I am literally losing brain cells. So then I was like, I'll stop here. So I have 9 and 10 to get through. But just thinking
A
about...
whole 40 minutes.
but just thinking about
Not
having,
even an hour.
having to sit down and watch the rest. I'm like, that's a fucking marathon.
Yeah, you should watch Ghost Stories instead.
Yeah, like it's a marathon to do it.
Like if you're gonna lose brain cells, at least it'll be funny.
I know. I might as well enjoy myself while I lose the brain cells
Yeah,
instead of torturing myself.
exactly.
Which I feel like Velma is a torturing myself experience.
Yeah, I just never bothered.
Yeah.
I saw too many clips and went, I would
Yeah,
be annoyed
absolutely
by
not.
this show.
Yeah. You would be annoyed.
Yeah. Because I don't like what's her face's comedy anyway.
Mindy Kaling.
Yeah, Minnie Kaling. I was spacing on her name. I don't think she's funny anyway.
Yeah.
Plus, apparently, if I dislike it, we're both sexist and racist. So,
I don't
according
know.
to her, which is, I as a different aside, because recently Zack Snyder made a comment that was like saying basically for the people's reception to Batman v Superman that people just didn't get it
Okay.
if they didn't like it, and I hate that justification for things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you just didn't get it. And
what was there to not get? I don't understand.
Everybody like quote tweeting it is like, no, I got it. There's not much to not get. It's just a bad movie.
I was gonna say Batman v Superman was not exactly like layered, complex, like deep,
Sure wasn't.
like kind of movie. So what would you not understand? What would you be missing, I guess, would be the question. What in Zack Snyder's brain is he like, this was the key element that made the movie?
I don't know. And I don't know why Zack Snyder fanboys are like ride or die with this. Like, I don't know what
With
made
Batman v Superman?
with Zack Snyder in general
Right.
and his DCEU, which is like, it's just, I know fans are odd and they'll be ride or dies for anything, but it just feels so weird. And like, I know people that like Man of Steel, so like, I get it. I don't like it. It's not for me, but like, whatever.
Right.
Batman v Superman has some cool moments. It has one of the best Batman fight scenes in a movie, in the warehouse. And Ben Affleck is a great casting for Batman. He's the perfect Bruce Wayne, in my opinion. He embodies Bruce Wayne so well. Of just like he looks like if you took comic Bruce Wayne and put it as a person,
Right.
You'd be like, that looks like that person. The like chiseled jaw, like the grizzled features and stuff. You're like,
Right.
yeah, see it. I see that. Got it. I think Robert Pattinson's second best to me.
Yeah,
I love live
I
action.
like the Robert Pattinson Bruce Wayne just a little bit more, only because I like the Batman movie.
Yeah, I think Robert Pattinson's I think it's the best costume design.
Me too.
And only reason I don't think he has the best Bruce Wayne. He has the best Bruce Wayne for the Bruce Wayne that is not Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, he is the Bruce Wayne before he becomes the playboy billionaire.
Yeah, he's like
type.
He's more detached.
Yeah, like he's the best version of that Bruce Wayne.
He's like the espresso depresso Bruce Wayne.
But I think as an all-arounder, I mean, well, again, because he's not going for that kind of Bruce Wayne. So
I know what you're trying to say.
They're different portrayals.
But I also feel like Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne might really, what I can't stand, I don't know if it's just me, but the bat costume for him feels so bulky.
It does.
It is so fucking bulky. I'm like, first of all, like Ben Affleck, he's a handsome, attractive guy. Like he's got a good figure. Why are you adding like so much extra mass to him?
Yeah, and at some points he was also dealing with some weight issues. So like at times you can see that like with whatever the costume's doing, that it kind of gives him more of a gut than he might have had. But like, you know, he was going through some shit, so like whatever.
Right.
And it was during reshoots too, so it was like, you know, already off, and you're not keeping the same bulk.
Right.
But I don't think his costume's that great. I agree.
Yeah,
but
it seems like it wasn't made like tailored to him.
Yeah, but I wish we got more of his Batman. I wish that was a possibility.
Because we get him in Batman v Superman,
Justice League.
We're
getting him in the Flash.
and then we get like a little like the little cameo in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and we're getting him in the next Aquaman.
Oh, so if you're gonna have him do all these Batman cameos, why not just come in and give him a Batman movie? Not that I don't love that Robert Pattinson is doing.
They originally were.
So what happened?
He was originally going to direct it.
Okay.
But like a lot of things with the DCU, things just kind of kept falling apart. He was going to write and direct it, and the one thing I will say that we did get some information about it, and it did sound interesting. The only thing was that it was absolutely that they were writing a Bane story but not using Bane.
Okay.
I'm spacing on the villain they wanted to use now, but it was like basically describing Bane without using Bane.
Okay.
And you're like, you know, it was like a character that breaks the bat, like, you know, better than him mentally and physically and whatever, and everybody's like, this sounds kind of cool, but that's definitely just Bane. Why aren't you just using Bane instead of this character?
Right.
And
well, do you think a part of it is like because they use
Bane in Dark Knight,
but they also had
Rise
Bane in Batman and Robin, or is that
that doesn't count?
I know, but you know what I mean. Like maybe they're trying to stray from that kind of.
That doesn't count.
Same vibe.
That doesn't count.
No.
That is not Bane.
It's
that
so
is fucking
goofy.
weird ass flower man. He's powered by flowers. He's powered by a poison ivy.
Yeah. It's very funny though.
But I don't know. Deathstroke. That's who it was gonna be.
Oh, that was gonna be the villain? Okay.
And the way to describe him, everybody was like, yeah, I mean that's not wrong, but really what you're describing is Bane.
Right.
But yeah, the villain was gonna be Deathstroke.
So if the villain was gonna be Deathstroke, I'm trying to think like, how were they gonna? Was there like already like a plan laid out?
Well, Deathstroke shows up in Batman v Superman or Justice League, one of those two. He has a great costume.
You might be right, but I feel like I do not remember.
He has a really great costume. It's Joe Manganiello that's playing him.
Mm-hmm.
He looks perfect for the role.
Yeah.
Everybody was really bummed that nothing came out of that.
Oh, wah. I'm trying to think. I feel like I don't know if it was Batman v Superman. It might have been Justice League, like you're saying. But
I think it was Justice League because Jesse Eisenberg Lex is bald.
Yes. And he has hair in Batman v Superman.
Yeah. God, that Jesse Eisenberg was sure a casting choice.
I mean,
it's so good.
Oh yeah, that looks good. I feel like Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor is very like, oh my gosh, he kind of looks like what's his name? Josh Brolin? Is that his name?
Josh Brolin.
Brolin, yeah. He looks like Josh Brolin in Deadpool 2.
Yeah, as Cable.
Yeah, as
But,
Cable.
like,
It's like a very similar vibe.
He's a perfect casting.
Yeah,
for Slade Wilson. He looks perfect. The costume looks awesome.
Yeah, that looks really good.
And it's just like, God damn it, why didn't we get anything with this?
Missed opportunity.
But like.
Well, it's because I
some
part of it. I
people-
feel like the DC.
Some people are saying that they should still give Affleck the movie because James Gunn said he was like, we're gonna have Elseworld stories. So
Right.
people are like, hey, you want to reboot stuff? Fine, but like, give Ben Affleck the movie. Like, if he wants to do it anymore, I don't think he might not want to do it anymore anyway.
Right.
But I don't know. I think Affleck.
Oh my
In
God.
the same vein that Henry Cavill could have been a great Superman, and there's the hints of like, I know he can be a great Superman. I think that Ben Affleck could be a great Batman.
How come
given
they
the time.
dropped him as Superman?
We did talk about this.
I know, but
So
he's too
Dwayne the Rock
old?
Johnson was trying to for the story they were telling also that
oh, okay.
but basically used him as like a leverage point, which was kind of a shitty thing to do.
The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock used Henry Cavill as like a leverage point to be like, hey, I'm making this thing, because he was trying to like take over the path of DC.
Right, with Black Adam.
Yeah. And then when James Gunn and Peter Safran took over, they were like, yeah, we're not going that route, and they wanted to write a younger Superman story, and they're like, we like you, Henry, but we're not going that way. So I mean, they did say that they would still put him into something. It's just something else.
Gotcha.
Like they if they have a role for him, they would definitely. But it sucks because like he really wanted to be Superman, and I think he had such a great potential to be a fantastic Superman. He got shafted. And at least Affleck, we're getting to see more of him, even if it's just in cameos.
Right.
In smaller roles, but like.
I want Ben Affleck to do a reboot Daredevil movie.
No.
The early 2000s are alive and kicking, okay?
No, because then we have to give Wesley Snipes another Blade. And we can't do that.
Wait, aren't they doing another Blade?
Yeah, but it has nothing to do
Oh,
with
it's
that.
not him.
Yeah, it's Mahershala Ali.
Oh, okay. Yes. I
Although
knew
he
it.
might be leaving it. So who fucking
I know.
knows?
Wasn't
It's
there?
been in-
There's production drama.
Well, before the writer's strike, it's been like in and out of production hell because they keep switching if they want it to be a show or a movie, and they don't know what to do with it. I guess they just don't know where they're fitting it and what to do with it and what the structure is. And it's been like a few years, and
feel like-
Mahershala Ali's like, dude, I'm gonna leave if you guys can't figure
Like, I'm
this shit out.
exhausted.
Yeah.
I feel like DC has the opposite problem of Marvel. In that, like, DC's creative team, complete fucking mess.
Yeah, but now they have a plan.
I guess. But Marvel, they're doing way too much.
They just
DC
didn't.
is not doing it.
Yeah, until Aquaman is the last of the old guard of like DC movies because they were already in production.
Right.
So the Flash and Aquaman they like couldn't scrap at that point. But after that, it's going to be the plan.
Oh, okay.
So-
So this is considered their very messy tentative phase 1.
Basically. No, because it's not really even a phase 1. It's just
Right.
like they kind of have to have this exist.
Is phase sorry to skip over to MCU real quick, but is phase 4?
Phase 5 just started.
That's what I
with
thought.
Guardians 5 or Guardians 3.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, I know phase 4 either just ended or
Yeah.
is
Phase 4 ended with with Ant-Man Quantumania.
Thank you.
And we lost Kang. Because the guy that plays Kang because assault allegations.
Ooh, yikes.
Yeah. So, but they are technically Jonathan Majors is still technically going to show up in something because they think they already started filming him and stuff, and they were like, we can't.
Right.
So like he's going to be in at least one more thing.
Gotcha.
But Guardians of the Galaxy 3, fantastic. Like the first MCU movie to be property for me to like actually be like, hey, this is actually higher than my I just had fun with it bar.
Oh, okay.
Like, because a lot of the movies recently have just been, they were fun.
Yeah.
You know, the genuinely great.
Although I will say, I feel like Quantumania I really did like how creative.
I don't hate Quantumania as much as other people do.
I don't either. I thought like you're saying, I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
But the amount, I really like the like different dimension or whatever they called it was.
Quantum realm, yeah.
Yeah, the quantum realm. It just it's so like striking, and the visuals I really liked.
And I like that Hank got his own thing, that he was just purely the ant controlling guy.
Right.
And I enjoyed that movie. I had fun with it. Thor: Love and Thunder, I understand why people hate it, and I do think it is much worse than Ragnarok. But I also just had fun with it, mostly because of Jane Foster's Thor.
Right.
I think she is very fun. I wish she had a better comedic angle than just being kind of goofy.
Right.
But I like it. I enjoy that.
Do you think a part of that is because I don't really see Natalie Portman as a comedic actress?
I think she can be. I just think the joke angle that they went with
is not for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could understand.
But I think
that.
she kind of pulled it off best she could.
Right.
I
never felt like it was unfunny. I just felt like sometimes it was too much.
Yeah, I didn't want the movie we got.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
I would have much rather had Thor 4 be about Jane Foster dealing with cancer and being Thor. Like, just her.
Yeah.
Like, as the basis of the movie.
Yeah.
I think would have been a much more interesting movie. But nope.
Yeah.
So, but like, I get why people dislike it. I don't think it needs the hate it deserves. People fucking hate that movie.
Yeah, people really tore that movie to shreds.
But like, I can get why they don't like it.
Yeah.
And like I said, my bar at this point is just I need to have fun, which is not a very high bar.
Yeah, I feel that.
Like, technically getting a 4-star in my IMDb thing is just that, like, I would rewatch it, which I feel like I need to rework it because I'm giving a lot of things 4s that people like usually hate, and I'm like, but I could rewatch Thor: Love and Thunder
And be like, okay with that.
Yeah. So like, it still gets a 4 out of 5, even though like it's not great, but I could rewatch it, so it gets the 4.
Yeah.
Where there are other MCU properties that are like theoretically better, but I would not want to rewatch again. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I understand.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for watching this week's episode of the Vaguely Anime Podcast. Don't forget you have 3 weeks to watch A Certain Scientific Railgun Season 2. And don't forget to check out Kat at Kat the Moonstar on Twitch. And we will see you guys next week for our 2-year anniversary.
Woohoo!
We are going to be 2 years old next week.
Yahoo!
And we only lost 2 people along the way. Doing pretty good. That's better than like a 1700s child survival rate.
A what?
1700s child survival rate, have like a bunch of kids and a bunch of them die.
Oh yeah, I think we're definitely doing better.
Yeah, we're doing better than that.
It's like if you have 7 kids, you might end up with like
2. Yeah. So, we got 3 still.
Yeah, we're doing good.
We're doing good.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.